Thanks for joining us on the John Mendola Show. We're driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers. Let's talk Meyers Lady Mohawks basketball. Joining us right now is the head coach, Chris Gray. And Chris, some talent back for this year's team, competitive league, and AAA isn't going to help, but nonetheless, you got to play the schedule, and you got to play the games, and you have some girls to do it this year. Tell us about this year's team.
John, you're absolutely right. It's a tough schedule, and it's something that we're trying to prepare ourselves for. And last year we got our feet wet in it a little bit, and we returned 5 starters this year. Three seniors, a junior, and a sophomore that all started for us last year. What I think is one of the best point guards in the Valley, and Salimah Biggs, junior point guard. I got two girls inside that really can get off their feet and step outside, make a jump shot, go inside. They can bang with anybody inside, and I consider them to be at least one of the best 1-2 punches inside. And the Gross sisters of Quinae and Quatera Gross. And we have Brianna DiMaggio back, returning 2-guard, and sophomore Alaena Lloyd, who's really had a great summer for us and stepping into a nice role and filling a need for us. She can shoot the ball and handles the ball really well, doesn't make a lot of mistakes. So we're hoping that, as the season goes on, through a tough exhibition schedule and a really difficult league schedule, that as it goes, we just continue to grow and get better as a team. And all you can do is play the schedule in front of you and see what happens.
We're talking with Chris Gray here on the John Mendola Show, talking Meyers Lady Mohawks basketball. And Chris, on paper and in theory, you have that great mix of players. You got some good seniors. You have a junior that can handle the ball pretty well. And then you have a bunch of young players, 9th and 10th graders, that have some raw talent. But you got to make sure they're fitting into your system and making sure that it fits into the whole team and the whole scheme of what you have there for Meyers.
Well, you're absolutely right, and what we've been trying to preach to them all summer long. And we had a really good summer, and everybody came, and they're working hard, and we're trying to get them to buy into the system and buy into the fact that it's not about one player. We're preaching this year. We're playing for the name on the front of the jersey, and we don't have names on the back in high school, but the old saying, you play for the name on the front of the jersey, not for the name on the back. And we're hoping that they believe in it, and it's for a lot of these kids. It could be their last chance to step onto the court. So we're hoping we could give them something special.
Talking about the Meyers Lady Mohawks, or 2013-14, Chris, what excites you about this team? Is it the offensive end, where you think you have various girls that could score at any given position or anywhere on the court, or is it the defensive side of the ball, where you feel that you have the athletes that can shut down some of these other teams?
Well, to be honest, I think it's both, and I think that I know that's cliche to say that, but the way we feel about this team is that we can match up with different teams, and we can kind of make them play our style of basketball and play the way we want to play, rather than have to adjust to the way the other teams play the game. We think that our defense is going to enable us to keep the game in a position. Our defense is going to allow us to, first of all, get some easy transition buckets and maybe hold some of the other teams' better scorers. You're never going to take them out of the game, but you keep them in check and to a point where they're not going to kill you. And then on nights where we really have some kids that can shoot the ball, we have some kids inside that can play tough inside. We have a point guard that can attack the basket, distribute, and we just feel that we're set up in a spot where on any given night we can play a couple different ways, and hopefully whichever style we have to play that night can make us successful.
Chris Gray here on the John Mendola Show, driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers, as we talk Meyers Lady Mohawks basketball. And Chris, it seems like it's just one of those years, and I don't know, it's in the air, but on the boys' side and the girls' side this year for basketball, it seems like there's a lot of good teams, and it's going to come down to the wire. As much as you could say there's some dominant teams in AAA for boys or for girls, there's some teams that could snag them or get them. And this is, I think, a typical year in AAA for the young ladies. I think we're going to see that. We have that top-level team, but we have those other teams that are kind of creeping and trying to chip away and be that team to maybe move on to the next step. So should be a great year. And teams that may think that they're going to be 18-6, they might wind up 12-12. It's one of those kind of years.
I couldn't agree more. And as a coach, that's something that I think excites everybody because, we just had our annual media day on Sunday, and everybody says, it's going to be a dogfight any given night. Any team can beat anybody. But for the first time in a long time, I think we all really believe that. I think we know that, in our division or in AAA that there isn't an easy out. Every night you're going to get somebody's best shot, and everybody's got a target on their back because if you don't show up to play, somebody could take you out. And it's one of those things where nobody, God forbid, nobody wants to see anybody get hurt, or you have to play a couple weeks without one of your better players. Somebody rolls an ankle or this or that, but you get those kids back. You still feel like come playoff time, you could be in a position that you could knock somebody off because everybody is so talented and so loaded, and so many people return, a lot of starters and a lot of depth, and there's a lot of young talent. It really is one of those years that, it wouldn't surprise me to see a 15 seed beat a 2 seed or a 14 beat a 3, and it's one of those nights. It's going to depend on the side of the bracket you end up and the draw you end up with in the district playoffs. It's going to have a lot to do and a lot to say about who comes out of what bracket.
I guess it'll be the February Frenzy. Maybe we could coin something new instead of March Madness, the February Frenzy this year for high school basketball, and we'll see what happens. Chris, always great to talk with you. We wish you well this year with your team. And again, you have some athletes, you have some talent there, and we'll see if the Lady Mohawks put it all together this year. Best of luck this season.
Thanks a lot, Ted. I appreciate you having us on.
All right, that's Chris Gray from Meyers and the Lady Mohawks for 2013-14 here on the John Mendola Show, driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers.